Okay, your first step is to take your interfacing and it's iron on. So that means it's gonna have a smooth side and a bumpy side. The bumpy side is actually little tiny glue dots that activate when they are heated up. So you want the bumpy side facing up, and you're gonna take your little squares and you're gonna lay them out in just a scrappy pattern. So that just means that it doesn't have to be in any sort of pattern. Just lay them out. So you're gonna have 2 of these. So you're gonna do a grid. You're gonna do 4 across and 3 down. The one thing that you want to remember is to just make sure that they are touching each other, not overlapping, but they're right up against each other. So go ahead and lay out your pattern. Okay, once they are all laid out, you're going to go ahead and take your iron and you're going to press it onto here. I usually like to put like a scrap piece of fabric or something over the top, or you can use your inner fabric. Just know that it might stick a little bit because that's what we're trying to get it to do. But you're going to go ahead and press it, hold it. I'm just trying to get those little glue bubbles to melt so that they stick to the fabric. Usually if you have a little bit of steam, that will help too, kind of get it a bit wet. So go ahead and do your steam. Hold it on there. You can check it periodically. You can see that it's sticking right there. And I'm just trying to make sure that all those edges stay nice and close. You can, like, it's not permanent glue, so if you need to, you can kind of reposition something. So go ahead and iron on those pieces to the interfacing on both of those. All right, so make sure your sewing machine is set up. If you need a refresher, go to our sewing basics videos. And this part is like magic. So what you're gonna do is just take one of your squares and you're going to fold it over just on top of each other. And we are just gonna sew a 1/4 seam right down here. You can put pins if you want. I am gonna sew it without pins. So 1/4, you typically line up the edge of your presser foot. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning. Back stitch. And you're just gonna follow that line all the way down. Back stitch at the end. And then you can see that it sewed those little squares together on that side. So then what you're going to do is you're just going to fold it over on the next line. Once you've sewn all 3 of those, it should look like this. I'm going to go ahead and press down these seams, and then we're just going to fold it the other way and sew it like that. are both sewn and ironed. Make sure there's no holes anywhere. We're gonna go ahead and take our rotary cutter or scissors if you have them, and we're just gonna trim so that all the edges are straight. All right, once those are both trimmed, you're actually going to trim your batting pieces and your lining pieces so that they're all about the same size. These measured about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 8. If you did have to trim a little bit off, that's totally okay. But you're gonna go ahead and trim your 2 inner pieces and your 2 batting pieces to the same size as these. Okay, we have all our pieces trimmed, so you're going to layer one of your batting pieces with one of your inner fabrics, and then you're going to put the zipper face up on top of this, lining up that top edge. And we're going to take one of your quilted pieces and put it face down. Basically, we're gonna make a little zipper sandwich. So we're going to line up all the edges and pin right across this edge. Okay, now it's time to sew our zipper. Some sewing machines have special zipper feet. Sometimes you can just move the needle over with your normal presser foot. So I moved mine as far left as I can. I'm gonna line up this edge of the presser foot right along the zipper teeth. I'm just going to start sewing. Back stitch, go ahead and take out your pins as you go, and you can kind of feel the edge of your presser foot following the zipper teeth all the way down. It right side out, and I just did a quick finger press, and I'm going to do a top stitch right across this edge. This time I'm going to let my presser foot line up on the other edge, keeping my needle to the left. My other batting and backing piece. You're going to do that pretty side up. You're going to lay the zipper right here, making sure that you're lining up these edges as well. Okay, so line that up along the top, and then take your quilted side, and if there's directional fabric, do that facing up towards the top. And you're going to go ahead and sandwich all those across the top of the zipper. Okay, so I have the layers on the top. I'm just going to go ahead and sew the zipper the same way I did before, this time just following on the top edge. All right, I sewed down the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and flip them both back. So cute. Oh goodness. I'm going to finger press it and do my top stitch on this side. Then your zipper is all sewn on. Okay, so you have your zipper sewn in, and this next part you want to make sure that you open the zipper part way. So what we're going to do is we are going to fold the 2 quilted pieces together like this, and we are going to line up the interior fabric. So basically you see the inside of the quilting and the batting. And what we're going to do is we are going to pin around the edges, make sure that your zipper is lined up, and pin that together. And we're going to pin it all the way around, and then we're going to sew it. We're going to start here at the bottom for the inner fabric, and we're going to leave an opening down here at the bottom so that we can flip it right side out. Okay, remember as you pin to line up your quilting seams so that when you flip it, the edges will be nice and lined up. And then for the zipper, make sure that you line up the zipper as well. Okay, you're gonna start at the X and we are going to sew all the way around. You're gonna go really carefully over the zipper. It's really thick right here. You may break a needle and that's okay. You'll just replace it, but just go really slow over the zipper part. Okay, so now that it's sewn, you're gonna go ahead and cut each of your corners at an angle. Just make sure you don't cut through the stitching line. That'll help, especially on the thicker sides. You can also go ahead and trim off your zipper. This one I'm gonna leave, no. Just go ahead and cut those off. And then you're going to flip it right side out through the hole. Make sure that you're grabbing both of the fabrics and then flip the whole thing right side out. Okay, so go ahead, make sure you push out the corners really good. Pull up on the zipper. Look how cute. Okay, the last step that you're gonna do is you're going to sew this hole closed. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the batting in. All right, and we're just gonna pin across this. So fold it in so that there's no raw edges. Pin across the opening. And we'll go ahead and sew that. All right, go ahead and trim all your threads. Then you're just gonna tuck the lining right inside of your zipper pouch. Ta-da! All right, final step is your beads. And obviously this is optional, but just put your leather piece through and you can decide how many beads you want on it. I like to feed both strings through. Let's see. Go with the 3 beads. And then just tie a knot in the end. Ta-da!